Hello everyone and welcome to another review. It's been a while, but here we are. Once again, thanks to Game of Bricks for sending me two LED light sets to review. These sets are for the LEGO sets 76898, which is a LEGO Racers set, the Formula E Panasonic Jaguar Racing Motor, blah blah blah. And the other one is for set number 40370, the 40th anniversary 40 years of LEGO Trains set. So, once again, the usual box, same as last time that they ship it, and very hard boxes, and inside a lot of their parts are in these tiny little plasticky bags. So for the race car set, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 bags. One of the bags is the main power supply bank or whatever. As mentioned from one of the last videos, the power bank is literally like a battery box for USB, but if you don't want to use the battery box, you can just use any USB sockets or whatever. For the train set, it was much smaller, much more simple. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 bags, and the 4 bags, they're not numbered, but they do something have labels on them. This one for bigger sets, the bags have numbers on them, so that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna go through this. I'm gonna look at their tutorials online and follow it on how to build these. And unless I find anything in particular very difficult or not so good, not clear, I'll highlight in the video. But if I don't see any of that, then I'll go straight ahead to the after the assembly. Once again, thank you for Game of Bricks for sending me some review samples here. Full disclosure, they didn't pay me to do these reviews, but I am getting free lights from them, and all they just say, hey, can you do a video on it? And that's all they ask of me. So all the opinions are of my own, except since I didn't pay for these, there's going to be a bit of a difference between people buying it and me getting it for free, of course. So maybe I'm not going to be as harsh because I didn't pay for it. So that aside, let's get over to the review. Okay, so inside my box here, there is a main connector board. For those who don't know, this is what you need to have all the lights connected, as well as the power USB wire connected to it. It doesn't matter which slot it is, as long as they're connected, it works. So one of the slots gets used up at the USB. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 slots here, one gets used up at the USB. I can plug in 5 more lights. But here's the thing, the one they shipped to me also comes with another 4-slot one, which should have a connector wire that goes between the two different boards, because I also have one extra light as well as some double-sided sponge thing to stick something in there somewhere, I guess for the roof of the cabin or something. And I'm missing that connector piece, so whatever, because it's okay with me, because the lights we have here now, we got 3 sort of short orangey lights, 1 long white light, and 2 of these blinky ones, color changing lights, and I'm not a fan of those. And the other one I can connect is also one of these continuously color changing LED blinky lights. And since I'm not a fan of those, I don't need the extra extension. But if you remember from my last review, that also happened that they forgot to send one part, like one light was missing, and I also broke one light myself, but it was still okay because there was still more than enough lights for the Darth Vader castle. So I was just like, don't bother, you're gonna send me more stuff, replacement, as well as the one that was missing. That's just not gonna waste postage and resources. Don't bother, it's okay, I'll just mention that. So they will offer to send stuff, but seeing that they're sending it for me for reviews, I'm not actually buying it. They've missed an item twice now. That deserves a mention. Okay, so first thing I did was take the train apart, and this train is built where there is a big sort of hole and gap in the middle section, almost like it actually has a tank for water and steaming and all that. So the first 3 lines I've input are the yellow ones, and all of these are applied to bricks with actually holes in them. So what I did was I got a tiny screwdriver, very carefully push the lights through these pieces. As you can see here, the wire is actually coming out the holes on the backs. So now that I've done that, the 2 lights here, I'm going to see if I can apply this brick back down here. Yep, that's good. And I'm going to do the same with this one. Cool. Now there's only minimal wire right there on both sides that go inside, and of course you're not going to see this wire because this is all going to be inside as well. So what I'm going to do now is make sure that the USB cable and the final white light is all in, heading down to the driver's room, and then I should be able to just plug this all back together, and the lights are all the wires pretty much hidden. So last thing left to do is to fix this white light to the top of the cabin, and yeah. Since I didn't want to use any of the sticky stuff, I just got a 1x2 plate and just clamped the wire and light to the top there, which that's really fine. You're not going to see that. That's great. And then the remaining wires, I just tucked all of the connectors right in there somewhere into the tiny little gap. Tiny little gap right in there. So they're hidden away. I suppose I could add a brick or two if I wanted to do that. After that, the floor wire just comes out there from the bottom. And then I can just put the driver in here. Easier said than done. Plump the train down onto its stand. Get a battery. And then plug it into the USB. And I actually tucked a bit more. There's a bit more wire here, but I've tucked a lot of it into the train. So there we go. Pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. That's nice. So like with this set, you can hardly see any of the wires except the one coming out for the USB port. So overall, this is pretty awesome. And if you do want to add the glowing ones there too, there's lots of space down there to stick the tiny little glowing LEDs and all that. So yeah, this is really awesome, really cool. This set fits with lights very well. If I just take the driver out the cabin now, come out. You can see the entire cabin is lit up pretty nicely. I have put the ISO down a bit, so there you go. That's what it looks a bit more like if the light's on. So great. I like this set. I think it's really cool. I would prefer not the LED flashy ones, maybe perhaps some more like white or orangey glow ones, just to light up more of the set. Otherwise, yeah, this is pretty good. And of course, remember, you can just buy random or custom. You can buy just specific colors if you know what you're doing and designing your own sets, and they're all in different lengths, so you can add a few wires yourself if you want to. Okay, bag one is done, and bag one just contains the 3 different lights for this particular car. Almost felt like maybe there could be a 4th one just to go inside the cockpit to shine some light on the driver, but whatever. So the first 2 lights are on the front right there on these 2 tips. Now there isn't actually any light stuff there, so I guess they just made it up, or maybe the actual Formula car has it, I don't know. So what you do is you remove these 2 top pieces, and there's a red and black wire, so you have both of them like go around the stud, so it just sort of gives it a little hook, and then let the wire sort of go inside these gaps there. You can see a bit better at the bottom here. You see the wires go down there. In the instructions they didn't do this, but I did, just to secure the wires a bit more, just to make it a bit more tight under this transparent piece. The backlight here, now the set does come with an extra regular red stud, which is supposed to make it a bit easier and looser, a bit more space for the wire to go in there. But I found that I can just squeeze the original flat 1x1 piece onto there, and it seems to work just fine. Although it does feel like if I do that more than once, it will start scratching and cutting away at the plastic and eventually the wire inside. So this is not something that you want to take off and put on all the time. They had the wire go down the back of the car, which I thought was ugly, so I took a few more pieces out. You can see the wire just there in this little gap right there. Again, once again, going down the insides there. Now this one does come with this plate here, as well as an extension connector cable to go to the main hub, because this set only comes with 1 USB plug for all the lights. This set comes with 2 cars, as well as a racing starting point with the lights on it, so that's what it's for. So for me personally, I don't want to tie all 3 items together, so I just plug the USB into this just to show you what the lights are like with just this particular car. You might want to have something sticky to or Bluetooth to just stick that right in there. It has just enough space to not go against the tires or scratch the floor. just enough space, and then but then you still have these wires coming out, so just position however you want them to position them. And moment of truth, I guess. So yeah, that's nice, you know. Light on the front, very bright. Red light on the back. Realistically, it's probably just a red light on the back, but hey, that looks pretty cool. And yeah, these lights are strong enough. You can probably have a glow if you put them inside these pieces. There's a little bit of a space in there, so if you want to do that and not have them be exposed, but otherwise, this looks pretty cool. Alright, so here we go. Let's go through the steps for this one. The instructions were pretty clear except for one spot right in the beginning, and that's the main light inside the car. So what they have you do is you take off this black piece as well as this transparent sort of glass piece right at the back of the car. Right there, and what they want you to do is to put the light, use this 1x4 transparent piece to clip the light onto the top black plate there. I haven't done that. I've actually slipped the piece inside this transparent piece, so you know it's actually inside something, and the wire just goes through down to the bottom and through one of the holes on the bottom plate there. Next up, you take apart the front panels here. You have a light here, and two there. So you got 4 on each side. Basically, you just sort of run them down through this gap here. There's a little bit of gap there where you can have the wires go through and they come out the bottom there. This does make the whole build slightly less sturdy, and you see these wires are pushing up against the pieces, but if you don't drop this car, you push it real tight and just be careful with it, it should be fine. And finally, the lights on the back, you take out these 2 chunks of pieces, these quarter semicircle parts, and what you do is you put the light underneath one of the red plates there, and then this whole piece from the back, you get the wires to come down there, and you put this piece back on. Obviously it does push this out just a little bit, so oh well. What they do is they have the wires and instructions just going around the bottom of the car, but I realized I can just pull on these wheels, take this whole chunk out, have the wires go underneath this plate, and put this whole chunk back in, which hides the wires a bit more and make sure it goes to the bottom of the car here. You probably want to use some sticky stuff here to put it, secure it, some blue tack maybe, and just have the wires like that. But again, they're down there. There's enough space for the wires so that it doesn't get in the way and the car can still run. And once again, I'm not connecting this to the main connector. I just don't want these cars to be stuck to each other. I have wires go between them. So I'm not using the connector, like the extension cord for this. So I'm plugging the USB power directly to this, taking the photos, showing you now how it looks. So moment of truth. Oops, I forgot to plug in the USB. There we go, so that's kind of cool. You got the bottom here is orange light and a white light, and on the back you got some red lights. And seeing it through the cockpit, that light there is pretty awesome. Now mine is facing directly forward to the front of the car and not coming down, from the top of the car, and I guess not facing downward. So, I can move that a little bit more maybe, but otherwise I'm quite pleased with how this looks. I really like this sort of light silhouette inside the car. You see the driver's face kind of obscured by the light, so that's pretty awesome. So the double color lights in the front, that's pretty cool. And the lights here are actually hidden better than the Formula car, I think. They fit just nicer than the Formula car. Okay, so here we go. On the instruction page, they actually gave the wrong instructions for this part. This part's not on the page. Instead, it was instructions for another Lego Racer set with like a 3 entrance thing and a gear. I think that's what the Ferrari set. I can't remember. I'll put some pictures so you can see for yourself. It's the wrong set. So what do you do here? Well, for this one, we have 5 lights, so 3 for them here, and they also came with 2 extra yellow studs for some extra lights on the side. So these are just attached there, just normal, whatever. See the connectors just hanging on top there. I guess at some point you can also just glue that down if you want to. I don't want to. And the 3 lights there, so sort of just really squeeze them in, and I poked them through the wires through this little Technic Plus gap from the top. But this has resulted in these not functioning like properly anymore. Like see, look, they're not falling down anymore. You gotta pull them down yourself. So the gimmick bit of pulling this bar out for the 3, 2, 1 go is not working anymore. But whatever, I don't really play with that, so I'm just gonna leave these lights in like that for now. Right, so, and yes, the wires will definitely be exposed from the top because there's far too many wires, so I kind of wish they're a bit shorter, but these are probably just part of the pre-made stuff. This might be the shortest ones. The green light, red light, actually green and red LEDs. The 3 yellow ones, they just use white ones, and they look fine. I guess one last thing is that the wires are also quite visible from the bottom there, but whatever. Boom, and there we go. So I got the lights up. It looks fine, you know, it's fine. So overall, for all the train lights, that's pretty cool. The wires are very easy to hide, and the overall assembly is also pretty good. You know, you just need a very small sort of flathead. I use a flathead screwdriver to push the lights through the red brick stud hole there. So, you know, that's the way I prefer to do it. You don't have to, but that's the best way to hide the wires. And the train itself is designed in a way where there's lots of holes in the middle, and the wires don't lower any of the integrity of the set itself, so that's pretty awesome. So if you have this train set and you want to add some lights to it, this is a good option. For the racing car set, if you only have it on display, great, you can just have, you know, one USB to power it, or it'll probably look good, you know, with all of them having the lights on. As individual pieces, you probably want to get some extra USB connectors from them, just so you can keep them separate. Starting line with the green, yellow and red light that stand there, far too many wires, far too exposed, not a great fan of it, but I guess you could argue that, hey, it is a, you know, electric structure, so you can probably wrap the wires around the bricks and say, hey, that's just being authentic. You know, there would be wires there, maybe exposed a bit more than other things, just because it's just like a temporary stand for the cars to start going, so you can say that's fine. The wires definitely affect the integrity of the build itself. Some of the pieces are popping out, some of the pieces, you know, have slightly looser than they should be, but once again, if you're going to add lights like these with the wires everywhere, you're probably going to just have these on displays and not move them around, and that's probably fine. If you're someone who likes to play with these cars and push them around, you might have some problems there and things might fall apart. These aren't the most structurally sound sets that LEGO have produced, and adding wires between the bricks is definitely going to affect that. I would say that I do believe these lights work so much better on buildings and solid structures instead of vehicles and moving objects, but what we have here still looks pretty decent. But overall, the lights do look good on these sets, so for display people only, great. You know, I do recommend these, and for people who play around, maybe not so much.